Welcome to our guided meditation for negative thoughts. When you are ready, take a moment to sit comfortably with good posture and close your eyes. As usual, let us begin with a little bit of mindful breathing before we move on. Breathe in through the nose to a count of 4. And then pause for 4. Breathe out through the nose for 4. Again, pause for 4. And repeat. And we're simply observing the breath moving around the body. And again, this is just a little bit of mindful breathing just to begin before we move on. Remembering to guide the mind back to the breath when we need to. And let us remind ourselves that for the next little while, all we will be doing is sitting and meditating. And for this short amount of time, that is all that matters. Just continuing to observe the breath moving around the body. And as you continue to mindfully breathe, I shall briefly introduce the technique that we will be doing. This is a technique to reduce and change negative thoughts. During the meditation, we will be working on whatever thoughts happen to occur to you. And we shall do several stages. In the first stage, we shall diffuse from the thought. That is, we shall distance ourselves from it so that we don't identify with it. After that, we will learn to change our thoughts to something more positive. And then we will notice how the mind is capable of producing any types of thought that we choose, and how we can use this creatively to our betterment. And those are the stages that we will be going through. And let us take just another breath here, and then we will move on. Just observing the breath moving deep down into the body and back out through the nose. And that is our mindful breathing stage. If you like to, you may pause here and continue to mindfully breathe until you feel nicely relaxed and focused. Alternatively, you may continue until the end of this and then feel free to begin again from the beginning. For now, let us move into the next stage. And so we are sitting and simply observing the breath moving around the body, breathing through the nose. Next, we will begin to work on our thoughts. When you notice that you are getting lost in a thought, or that your mind is getting drawn into and identifying with a thought, just take a slight step back and say to yourself, this is just a thought and nothing more. And let's do that now. We're mindfully breathing, observing the breath moving around the body. Inevitably, from time to time, we will experience thoughts, both positive and negative. When we experience a thought, we take a slight step back from it. It is as though you are moving your awareness a little bit away from the thought. And then say to yourself, this is just a thought and nothing more. And I shall be quiet for a moment now to allow you to do that. Remember to bring your mind back to your breath when you need to. And so that is the second step of this meditation. We are mindfully breathing, noticing when we experience thoughts, pulling ourselves back a little bit away from the thought, and then reminding ourselves, hey, this is just a thought, that's all, nothing more. And again, you may feel free to pause here and continue to practice this step, or follow me as we move into the next stage. And just for a moment we will return the mind to the breath and just observe the movement of the breath in through the nose, deep down into the abdomen, and then back out through the nose. And of course, if we were perfect, we would be able to hold our focus here for as long as we want with a perfectly quiet mind, but that is not how we humans are, and so we will experience some thoughts. When we experience the thought, as we did in the last stage, we pull away from the thought and then remind ourselves, hey, this is just a thought and nothing more. Next, if it is a negative thought, change it to something that is realistic, but also positive. And I will give you a few examples using my own thoughts right now. And so, I'm observing my breath moving around my body. And I'm allowing myself to enjoy that inner peace while my mind is quiet. And now I experience a negative thought that what I'm doing is not good enough. That is literally a thought that I experienced right now. What I'm doing is not good enough. Okay, so let's work with that. We pull back from the thought and remind ourselves, this is just a thought and nothing more. Then we change the thought to something that is realistic, and the realism is very important. We don't want to be fakely positive. We want to be realistically positive. And so I'm going to say to myself, I'm being productive right now, and if there are any ways for me to be more effective in what I'm doing right now, then I invite my mind to show them to me. And again, that's just an example based on my own thoughts. You notice your thoughts, pull back from them, remind yourself that it is just a thought, and then change the thought to something, and I'll repeat, realistic but positive. Realistic but positive. It is not a fanciful positive thought, it's not idle dreaming, it's an objective thought that is truthful, that is stated in the positive, and that is realistic. And I shall be quiet for a moment now to allow you to practice that. And so that is this stage of the meditation, changing our negative thoughts to something realistic and positive. And again, feel free to pause and continue to practice this step or follow me into the next stage. In the next stage, we notice how the mind has the potential to create any types of thoughts at any time, and also has the potential to be completely silent at any time. And when we do this, we become liberated from the imprisonment of our thoughts. And so we are sitting and just observing the breath moving around the body. And do allow yourself to enjoy that quiet peace for as long as you like. You don't need to force the thoughts. If you are quite quiet-minded now, then just enjoy that. And inevitably, a thought will come to mind. When the thought comes to mind, we pull away from it. We remind ourselves, hey, this is just a thought. If it is something negative, we make it realistically positive. For example, if we happen to think I'm stupid, then we say to ourselves, well, in some ways I'm intelligent, and here are a few ways in which I am intelligent, and in some ways perhaps I am not that smart, and here are some ways that I'm not so smart. Then we notice that the mind has the potential to create any thought about anything. And also the mind has the potential to be infinitely silent. In this stage, we are connecting with the creativity of the mind. We're noticing, hey, my mind has infinite potential. I can think anything about anything, and I can also just allow myself to be quiet and peaceful. And that is this stage, simply noticing that infinitely creative potential of the mind. I'm going to recap one time, and then I'll allow you to practice. And so we are sitting and breathing mindfully. Inevitably, we experience a thought. We pull back from the thought and say, hey, this is just a thought and nothing more. If it is a negative thought, we then make it realistically positive. And finally, we note to ourselves, hey, my mind has the potential to be infinitely creative and also infinitely silent. We are connecting to that unlimited creative potential of the mind. And now I shall be quiet for a moment to allow you to practice that. And that is the final stage of this meditation. Again, feel free to pause and continue to practice this last step, or perhaps you might like to wind back to the beginning and start again. By practicing this meditation, you will learn to handle negative thoughts, and you will tap into the infinite creative potential of your mind. Thank you for joining me for this meditation. I appreciate your support, and I'd invite you to leave a comment, to vote this meditation up, and to subscribe. I'll see you next time.